are pushing now, and we're all people. We all do mistakes. So like eventually, you have a lot of vulnerable code in production.
Right.
And I bet like all of these companies that are here, everybody has vulnerable code in production. So like you need to have something that can actually analyze all the traffic and try to figure out like when somebody's trying to find vulnerabilities, when somebody's trying to exploit those vulnerabilities. And this is really hard. That's really hard to do. So like one of the challenges is actually how you can do it real time, because you not only need to do the standard things that API management or API gateway needs to do, but you also need to parse all the requests, apply attack detection, make a decision like if this particular request is malicious or not, block it in case you need like if you believe it's a malicious thing. So it's really, really hard to do on scale, especially like we have customers like Dropbox, Miro, they analyze like billions of requests daily. And so it's really, really hard to do on scale, so that's why you need help for different kind of solutions.
All right, so I understand. And then I take some tool, magic tool that does it,
Yeah.
like Alarm. And what happens? How can you analyze this in scale and not only make sure that you find and block the bad requests, but also prevent false positives and don't block traffic that was completely legitimate and you decided for some reason that it's something off with that?
Oh yeah. False positives are, it's actually another big challenge. Not only how to do it fast, but like how to do it accurately now. So like we put a lot of efforts in that direction. So it's, at the end of the day, it's all about like how you approach the attack detection. And obviously what you don't want to use is signatures. You know, like this very basic, regular based rules. When you have a match with some kind of like database of the bad payloads, this is kind of like so outdated. Unfortunately, this is what a lot of companies still sell. So you don't want to use that. So like we use behavioral-based analytics, we use grammar-based attack detection. It's basically when you think about the compiler, you basically need to create a compiler that understands the source code. We created a compiler that actually understands what is the attack. So it basically describes the grammar of attack. So this is one of the things we actually open source. You can find it at GitHub. It's called leap detection. So it's purely grammar-based attack detection technique, so they can find injection attacks, command-in attacks, so like it's out there. But getting to your question, like what do? Like we do three things. One is API discovery. How even to find all the APIs that you have. Like every time we talk with the companies, we ask simple question: how many API endpoints do you have? Do you know? Like, do you think everybody can answer that?
Yeah, I'm sure. Like there are a lot of APIs that go under the radar, and then just people don't know about it, and they're exposing probably obsolete legacy and vulnerable code because no one knows that those APIs exist. But I think here a centralized API management like Kong actually solves this problem.
I mean, Kong solved the problem for those APIs that are managed with Kong.
Right.
But if you have like other APIs that are not managed by Kong, or they are not even managed by any API gateway, which by the way, like Gartner is saying, like by 2024, half of the APIs wouldn't be managed by anything. So like that.
I would expect this number to get lower as people got more educated about API gateways.
This is the reality. You just like have so many APIs, they're changing all the time. Like nobody have a good understanding of what is happening out there. So like having inventory, this is challenge number one, and we can help to solve it.
And you do it by scanning the networks and discovering all the endpoints?
Two things. Like one thing, we can do it outside. So you're giving us a domain, like Kong.com.
Right.
And like we can basically find everything that you have exposed, like all subdomains. We will look like for what is cached in Google, this kind of stuff. But it's not enough. So basically you need to analyze the traffic. And we could like do it in a multiple ways. We can sit right within the Kong. So basically we'll analyze all the traffic of Kong, which is one thing. But the challenge here is that like not everything is running through the Kong. So that's why we use out-of-band approach as well. And we can have a copy of the traffic from Amazon or from your load balancers or from other cloud providers. So basically analyze the copy of all the traffic and build a whole profile, like all the APIs, all the endpoints, all the parameters, which of them expose sensitive data, which of them authenticated, which of them are not. So like that's the approach.
Okay, so we got the list of all the APIs. We know more or less are they authenticated or not, and we can. And I think this is a first great step to actually make sure that all your APIs are managed correctly.
Right.
I can take Alarm, do this discovery, and then make sure that each and every API go through my API gateway, and then
Right.
it makes it more secure by definition that I have the centralized management of those APIs. But that's not enough.
It's not enough.
Okay, so what's next?
That's a good start. Now you know, like, at least what do you have out there. Now you need to, now you're not sleeping at night and thinking how on earth we can protect all those thousands of APIs we have.
Right.
Yeah, like, this is where like Kong can help. You know, like you need to make sure like all of them are authenticated. You need to make sure like you put the rate limiting. You can do it with Kong or other API management systems. But at the end of the day, you also need to think like how to make sure that your APIs are not abused and how to make sure that they are not breached.
Right.
And this is where you can also use some open source tools, by the way. So like, there's some kind of WAFs out there. WAF is a web application firewall. They can do something, but they're very simple, kind of like this regular expression-based approach. Are at least better to have something than not having anything. But at the end of the day, you need find a solution that can actually analyze all of the protocols that you have, like REST, GraphQL, gRPC, everything that is out there, WebSockets. You need to make sure that your solution for security actually supports all of those protocols. And by support, I mean like it can parse, it can analyze, and it can like mitigate all those attacks. So basically, and this is where you need some product that can actually, the best case, sits in line, so that you can not only detect stuff by analyzing copy of the traffic. This is what a lot of companies are doing. But also like sitting in line so that you can actually block them right away.
Excellent,
Yeah.
excellent. All right, so folks, you take a look at Alarm and learn more about API security and how to make them even more secure than you already have. Make sure that you manage them using a good API gateway like Kong. And Stepan, thank you for coming for today's Speakeasy.
Awesome, thank you for coming in.
All right.